All right, man, you ready?
I'm ready, let's do it.
How you feeling today?
Feeling good, you know. Another day, another dollar.
All right. We're gonna warm up first, get some jump rope in,
All right.
get some education today, teach the people a little bit about some finance.
A little bit about money, teach them a little bit about boxing, combination of both.
You know, so let's go ahead, let's get our stuff down. All right, so we're gonna get into a quick little warm up, get some jump rope on, get you light on your feet. So, and then we're gonna get right into the ring, work on some footwork, work on some blocking, work on some offense today. How you feel about that?
Feel good, let's do it. I'm ready to
Cool.
go.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Ready? All right, cool. Block, hook, pause. 1, 2, 1, 2, block, hook, pause. All right, we're gonna block that. We're gonna keep that high guard on the block. Ready? 1, 2, 1, 2. Hop, hop, hop. We'll do that again. Boom. Good. Nice. Do that again. Block. Again. One more time. Boom. Perfect. All right? So you see we're blocking, right? You can't have good offense if you don't have good defense, right? They kind of go together, right? You can't have night without day.
Right.
And the thing is with blocking, a lot of times people drop their hands, they're keeping their hands below their chin, and they're not keeping a high guard, right? So when you think about blocking, it really sets you up to think clearly about where you could apply your punch when it comes to offense. How does that relate into like finances?
Yeah, for sure. Like in finance, when we think about blocking, you can think of it from an insurance standpoint. So when it comes to the insurance standpoint, it's there. You want to have it there at all times. So just like blocking, sometimes people want to drop their hands down, AKA go without insurance.
Right.
So that's one thing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go drop your hand down,
Mm-hmm.
once you get caught without the insurance
Right.
or without the blocking, it's lights out.
Mm.
So same thing when it comes to protection.
Right.
So you want to make sure you're blocking yourself, making sure that you're keeping yourself protected,
Right.
even if it seems like you don't need to. So never drop that hand down,
Right.
keep that insurance up, and you'll be all right.
Cause like you think about it, like life insurance, for example, right?
Mhm.
Like a lot of people feel like, well, I don't need to go. I don't plan on dying anytime soon.
Right.
What would be the reason on why somebody would probably need life insurance?
Yeah. So I mean, as far as like thinking about like, okay, I'm not gonna die anytime soon. First, you never really know. So that's
Right.
just like a fallacy in itself.
Right.
Like you don't know. You could walk out of here tomorrow. You just never know what can happen.
Exactly.
When it comes to life insurance from a protection standpoint.
Right.
The second thing is, even if something doesn't happen to you or you don't die, your health changes.
Right.
So as your health changes, it may be hard to get that protection in the future.
Right.
So it's better to have that protection now, and then in the future when you need it, you already have it set up. Because there's times, for example, like if you get diagnosed with something,
Right.
or you get some type of chronic or terminal illness,
Yeah.
at that point in time, it's going to be impossible to get protection.
Yeah.
No one's going to insure you. No one's going to get you insurance. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
So it's better just to have the insurance at all times. Keep it protected. Keep it on your chin, and then you'll be all right. So
There's so much crossover. You see that correlation with boxers. They get overly confident in the fight.
right,
And they're overtaking the other fighter, and they forget to bring their hand back. AKA they go without insurance. They get hit with a big bill, and when they get hit with that big bill, lights out.
it's ugly.
So
Yeah, and the same thing when it comes to that, keeping that guard down. Like for example, like when it comes to keeping that guard down, you can win a fight. Keep your hand down the whole time. You can win the fight and just not get touched.
Right.
And then your head is like, oh, I was fine. I didn't need insurance. And then you go to the next fight, something doesn't, same thing. You go without a hit. Oh, I don't need insurance. And then you start building this mindset of, I don't need insurance. I don't need homeowners insurance. I don't need disability insurance. I don't need these insurances. But that 1 second when it just takes one hit on the chin and it could be over.
Right.
So a lot of times we go and we think, okay, I don't need the insurance. I don't need these things, because they feel like I've done it time and time again. I've done it fight and fight again without getting hit. So what do I really need insurance for? but it only takes that one time. So you want to keep that hand up the whole time for that one time because it only takes 1 second.
Yeah, it's like one thing I want to add to that is, one thing I've learned being an insurance agent briefly is there's always a loss that you have to expect. Like, so in boxing, the similarity there is that if you're in the ring and you're fighting the person, the intention is for them to hit you.
Sure.
So the idea is that you have to keep your hands up, even if you feel like, well, I'm winning the fight, right? So financially, everything could be in place. All your ducks could be in a row. But like you said earlier, sometimes you just don't know. That illness can come around and your whole family now can get impacted. And even if you don't have like kids or anybody directly to you, a lot of times if it's just you, your family has to kind of come together to pull things together now because maybe you didn't make that decision to keep your hands up. So
for sure.
That's great information.
And also, another thing I want to add is the perfect correlation is just thinking about when you're winning the fight, that's when you want to keep your insurance up the most. Because you know your guy, he's down on the points. So he's going to be swinging, throwing whatever he can do. So it's more and more important, just like in life, the more you're building, if you're doing really well in life, you want to protect everything you've already had.
Makes sense.
Same thing with fighting. If you're in the ring and you're winning the fight, you know that other guy's going to be swinging to get the knockout because he's losing down on points. So insurance is even more, it gets more and more important as you continue to grow and continue to elevate and continue to win in the ring as well too. So.
Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. 1, 2. Oh, right. Keep walking to me. All right. 1, 2. Roll under now. All right. Boom. Boom. Roll on them. Boom, boom, roll on them. All right. Boom, boom, roll on them. Oh, nice, 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 nice. Yeah. So when we're slipping, when we're ducking, right, what we're really practicing is being elusive, right? When you think about boxers compared to other fight forms is the art of hitting somebody and not getting hit back, not getting touched up. Some other fight forms, it's all about, tit for tat. Boxing is really, that's why Mayweather, people like his style, some people don't. But the reality of it is that to be elusive and learn how to navigate through tough times, right? When you get into those moments in a fight where it's getting real dicey, maybe you need to catch your breath, but you can lean on the fact that, man, I got my head movement. I can roll under, or maybe this person is just throwing a lot at me and I can time it versus I don't have the energy to throw a punch back, but I'm going to conserve my energy and recover. How does that tie into finances?
For sure. Just like with me slipping and moving around, I can kind of see stuff coming in and kind of move and make adjustments. That's pretty much like your emergency fund. So when you build out your emergency fund, typically we're looking at around 3-6 months worth of your expenses. That allows you, when you see something coming towards you or something happens to you, you can react, split, move out the way, make adjustments. And not even on the negative side, not even on the bad side, but if you see an opportunity.
Right.
So when we're looking at an opportunity, just like your emergency fund, it could be for emergencies. It could also be for opportunities as well. So you see something coming, you see a business venture that's like, oh, things are on sale right now. Let me kind of put some money towards that. So same thing when it comes to that. The slipping portions of things, same thing when it comes to the emergency fund and opportunity fund. It correlates directly, allows you to kind of move around and switch and make adjustments when life's kind of throwing things at you.
That makes so much sense because, yeah, like what you're saying is like on one aspect, I'm slipping to dodge a punch because maybe I'm tired. Maybe I'm tapped out. So maybe I'm in a situation where I'm running low, but I still got enough money to pay my bills. Or to what you're saying is maybe I make him miss so I can hit him. And now, maybe the stock market plummets and now I'm getting the stocks on sale, right? Like there's certain avenues in which, so that makes so much sense in terms of being elusive with your money and how it ties into boxing.
For sure. Yeah, that emergency fund is so key because it works off everything. When you slip, like you'll probably talk about it a little bit more, but when you slip and you're able to move and have
Big
more
shots.
powers in your
Big
punches.
shots, yeah.
So that emergency fund not only helps you with getting out the way of stuff or being able to take things, but it also sets you up for another big shot.
Right.
And it sets you up for a future opportunity.
For the win.
It sets you up for the win.
For the win. All right, so let's work on the box step here. So we're gonna take a forward step, left step, back step, right step. Repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Opposite direction, right? Step back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. It's simple, right? But being in the right place is all about direction. Learning where you need to go. Am I going left? Am I going right? Am I stepping back? Am I stepping forward? That's important for defense. If a person's throwing a punch at me, maybe I could just step out the way, right? I could just step to the left. I could step to the right. Or maybe I need to be the aggressor. I need to insert myself. So I need to come forward. But it all comes down to footwork, right? But footwork is not just all about moving in and out. It's also about learning how to go lateral. And again, understanding where you need to be. How does that tie into finances?
For sure, for sure. The first thing that comes to mind when you say that is how everything ties together is estate plan. So when it comes to estate plan, when we think of what an estate is, a lot of people think of like a big house. Really what estate is just pretty much everything you own, everything you owe, put into one bucket. And then you have a plan for that. So when we think about your estate plan is making sure that if something happens to you, your money goes to your family, to your kids, goes to the people that you want it to. Because if you don't have an estate plan, the government has an estate plan for you. And that's when you go into court, go into probate, and then they already have everything set up. So just like when it comes to that footwork, everything moving, you want to have a solid estate plan so that way when you have your investments over here, these are doing what they need to be doing. You have your insurances over here, your life insurances, they're doing what they need to be doing. You have all the things in your financial portfolio moving around just like with your footwork. You want your estate plan to make sure that all that stuff is moving with it because it's all working together. So that's when it comes to footwork and correlation. You want to have a solid estate plan, your will, your trust, your power of attorney, all those things in place to make sure if something happens, everything's moving with it.
And it's so, when you say it like that, I mean, I don't think a lot of people really think about that, right? Because if you're 21 and then you're 30 and then the next day, all of a sudden you're 50, obviously that's the direction of your life. You're the direction of your life. Maybe one day you're single, and the next day you have kids, the next day you're married, one day you have a house, the next day you have a business, and so forth. And it's like that's very similar to the direction of a fight, right? If a person is coming at you and you're tired and you don't know how to fight backwards, you're going to run into a situation where you didn't you didn't train that direction, or you didn't have a person to guide you in that direction. So it's very similar, I would assume, if you have people handling that for you and kind of guiding you through like, hey, okay, now you have all of these different things that's in your life now. This is the direction that we're going to go into.
Exactly. I'll further even elaborate that on a little bit more. Is just thinking about, like, let's just say you're standing there and I see that, okay, the hook is open. If I don't move this foot and I stay right here, my foot are like this, that's not going to work. So when it comes to the estate plan, you change your life. Maybe you got married. Maybe you got a divorce. Maybe something happened. That's a change in footwork. So you need to make sure you change your position so that way now you can land these punches in this new environment, in this new position you're in. Because if you don't adjust your estate plan with it, you might be right here, your footwork, that's just not going to work. It's not going to work there. So yes, definitely correlated.
That's dope. Bringing those hands up. Stiff jab. Bringing the hands back. All right. So, The jab, man, it's literally the punch in all of martial arts, all of boxing, right? I mean,
Mhm.
Bruce Lee, he always paid homage to Muhammad Ali off the jab. And the jab is one of the most simple punches, but the most effective punches because it's what leads into the other aspects of the fight. The cross, the hook, the uppercut. If you got a good jab, you got a good entryway into getting closer to your opponent, especially if you got like long arms, like it's very difficult then for somebody to penetrate you or for you to more so to go towards them.
Mhm.
And it's a simple punch and it's overlooked because obviously it's not the most sexiest punch, right?
Mhm.
How does that tie into like finances?
For sure. Yeah, like when I think about the jab and just the simplicity of it and just the go-to kind of strategy, I think of a couple different instruments.
Mm.
One I think about is a money market, where you're just putting the money in there, it's getting the interest, it's just growing. So money market's very, very conservative dollars. You just keep putting the money in there, it's gonna grow, it's gonna get interest and compounds.
Mm.
Another thing is a bond. So a very safe vehicle that you can kind of put money into, safer than your other investment strategy.
Mm.
So we think about a bond, same thing. You're putting your money into it, you're getting an interest rate based upon the bond coupon rate, and
Mm.
you're just writing that money on and just getting that interest compounding and compounding, compounding. So when I think of that jab and the simplicity of it, I think of money markets, I think of bonds, I think of those conservative type of vehicles where you can just keep punching that and keep doing that, and your money will continuously grow from a conservative standpoint.
You're gonna see it. Yeah, man. A good jab leads to a really good cross,
Mhm.
right? And when I think about a cross, man, it's really all about like just creating that making sure you're hitting your mark, So I always think about like just the value of it of all, and making sure that when you do land the cross, make sure that you're in the right position to land the cross.
For sure, for sure. You know what? That really makes me think of a value stock. So you
Mm.
throw that cross right here, you're protected, you have some protection on your jab, and it's just continuously growing. So a value stock, you think about like your Coca-Colas, your Microsoft, they've been around for a long, long period of time.
Mm.
And essentially what they're doing is they're just continuously growing and they're just continuously throwing that punch.
Mm.
And then when you have that value stock, it's not as much risk as like a growth stock where you're throwing an uppercut or a cross.
Mm.
Essentially, the value stock is a little bit safer than the growth stock. So when I'm thinking about the jab that we just were talking about and the cross, you can win a fight just off those two instruments alone: bonds and value stocks, money markets and value stocks. With those two things, you can win a fight completely on your own. Same thing when it comes to an investment strategy and a financial planning strategy. If you just have bonds and value stocks, you can be good to go in that. And that's all you really need.
Just
So
staying
that really makes me,
disciplined.
that really makes me
Yeah.
think of that discipline of just having your basics in there, your money markets, bonds, value stocks, and then just having those core essentials in there and just continuously
Because it works.
working the fight. Yep, and it works.
Because it works, It's
Proven.
like,
Yeah.
I always look at, whenever I look at a really good boxing match and I see a really good jab, usually a really good jab leads to a nice lineup for a good cross,
Mhm,
right? And that makes sense because if you got the basics down packed with the jab,
mhm.
then a stock like a Coca-Cola, the Microsoft, and all those other things that go along with your portfolio, you're just gonna have growth in your portfolio.
Mhm.
The same way, if you got a really good jab, you lining that jab up properly, you're
Mhm.
bound to get a shot right down the middle, button on the nose, and clean them up with a good cross. So that makes a lot of sense.
For sure. And even think about it a little bit more, is it's repeatable. So it's a repeatable method. So no matter who you're really fighting, if you throw in that, you don't have to worry about kind of luck. You don't have to worry about positioning as much.
Right,
You're really just kind of fighting your fight, jab, cross,
right.
same thing, bonds, value stocks.
Mm.
Same thing. You're just continuously fighting your fight. It's more a repeatable way to kind of go about your financial
Yeah.
planning without taking on more risk.
It's dope. Good work. Hands up. One more. You see, I love a good lead hook, man, because when you got a good lead hook, you got to earn it. A lot of times you'll see folks just throw a wild hook out there. They're just throwing it out there, and they're not realizing that a good hook is either all about making sure that the timing is right and making sure that you're in the right position. We talked about that earlier in terms of footwork, where you need to be, right? A good hook where you're inside, close quarter, you're good. But if you're not in the right position, you find yourself throwing a really wild shot. But on top of that, just like what we worked there, right? Making sure that you land a jab, a cross, and then that jab and cross is designed to line up for the hook, right? So you had the proper jab in place. You had the proper cross down the middle, and basically maybe he dropped his hand, boom, and you catch him with the hook. When I think about, what we were talking about earlier, like you're thinking about the bonds, you're thinking about value stocks, all those things. I just feel like there's so much correlation.
It's a ton of correlation, because when you think about that jab that we threw, that's a little bit more conservative. When we threw that cross, that's a little bit more conservative in regards to the value stocks, in regards to the bonds. But in regards to this hook, as you can see, when I throw that hook, I'm a little bit more open. I have a little bit more risk associated with that hook, opposed to the other two shots that we were talking about earlier. But if we're in close quarters and I'm throwing that hook, if it hits, it's going to be a good hit. It's going to hit. It's going to feel. It's going to do a little bit more damage than that jab, which was the money market, as well as that value stock, which was that cross.
Right.
But the hook, if it hits harder.
Right.
But it leaves you a little bit more exposed.
And you can miss.
So with those growth stocks, we're thinking of stocks that are looking to continuously grow. They feel like, okay, we can go to the moon. We can keep reinvesting.
Right.
So they're not as stable as a value stock.
Right.
So there's a little bit more risk associated with it. That might be something like your NVIDIA types of stocks, who are doubling down, reinvesting back into their company because they feel like there's an opportunity to keep growing. If it hits, it hits.
And that's what I love most about boxing. I always try to tell my clients this about boxing. And now that I'm in the life insurance space, and when I'm working with my clients in life insurance, I try to explain to them everything in life comes down to strategy, right? Like strategy is baked into every decision that you're making. And when you're in the ring and when you're boxing, every punch is a decision that you're making that usually leads up to the next punch, right? Just like if you were playing chess, you're thinking maybe literally 10, 20 steps out, because, the goal is to win the fight. Sure. And so the jab by itself is one thing, but to know that I'm going to have the jab and it's going to connect to the cross. And then if the cross is well connected, then I got the hook and then follow through with the cross. So that makes so much sense when I think about finances and all the different financial instruments that you have, because essentially you can't just go into the fight blindly, right? You got to have some kind of framework, even though you may not have an exact plan, but in principle, the different pieces on the board to move with proper strategy.
For sure. That's what we preach so much at our company at Black Lines. We talk about comprehensive financial planning, because everything is connected. Everything that you do works together. Your insurance works with your estate planning. Your estate planning works with your investments. Your investments work with your tax planning. Your cash flow, it all connects. So same thing when it comes to the boxing standpoint. All these punches connect with each other and positioning and making sure everything works all right.
Got to connect the dots.
For sure, that's it.
There you go. All right, don't wind it up too much. Keep it short, keep it sweet, tight. All right, like you inside. All right, work 'em. All right, work 'em. All right, work 'em. Work 'em. Work 'em. Work 'em. Work 'em. Right. Nice. All right. Cool, man. The uppercut, right? It's a very technical shot. There's a lot of intricacies that's inside of an uppercut. And everybody teaches the uppercut differently. I'm not the uppercut guard, but basically how it was taught to me in regards is like, number one, similar to what we talked about earlier in terms of like where you are position wise. Uppercut is a good inside shot, right? Uppercuts, hooks, you're close enough to your opponent to where you can land a shot on the body, maybe on the chin or nose, but you don't want to be too far out because then you find yourself doing these big wide shots. And not to mention, when we throw the uppercut, we're thinking about basically turning the whole body, coming from the torso and the hip, and then following through on that shot with the punch. Because a lot of times you'll see folks just using just their arms and not using their whole body, right? So we were trying to get you in your legs there and really kind of get all things working and functioning so you can land the shot properly. So, I mean, technical, being like a true mechanic, you know.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Because when I think about the technicality of an uppercut, I think of a couple different instruments and a couple different routes that you can go into. One, I think about alternative investments. Another thing I think about is just business ownership. And then last but not least is private equity. So what those are, it's a lot more risk than your other investments. Like when you're owning a business, you got to manage a lot of different things. You got to manage employees, you got to manage cash flow. Same thing when you invest in a private equity, when you're investing into a company that's a private company, it's a little bit more risky on that space. So same thing with the technicality of it all.
Right.
Same thing.
A lot of moving pieces.
A lot of moving pieces. You have to make sure you're positioning. You can't be too far. You can't have too much money over here. You have to make sure that you're really paying attention to what the business is doing. You have to make sure you're really paying attention to what the private equity that you're investing into, how they're managing it all. Because it's a lot more volatile. So that technicality is the same thing when it comes to alternative investments, business ownership, and private equity, because it's very, very technical. So you really shouldn't just be in the ring, you know, just throwing them. You really got to make sure you're in it. And then when you see the opportunity for a private equity deal, you're like, that makes sense. Right. That uppercut. And make sure
and it's interesting because usually wherever I see that there, especially in boxing, right, the best uppercuts are usually thrown from people that are experienced. They're in the ring, they've been in the ring. Because you can learn on the bag, I mean, you can practice, but it's until you get in the ring and you're put in those scenarios and in those moments where maybe you get hit because you didn't keep your uppercut short and sweet, or it wasn't very intentional, or you weren't in the proper position. And, you know, you have to have that experience to understand the technical aspects of it. You know, pardon my language here, but basically just having all of the specs of it so you could properly get in a position to land that shot, because experience sometimes is worth more than, you know, any kind of knowledge, right? Like somebody can give you the information on something, but it's until you actually get into the situation and you experience it, you're like, oh, okay, this is exactly what, you know, someone like you in regards to, you know, equities and things of that nature.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm thinking about like just the experience of it all.
Right.
Like private equity deals, business ownership. I'm not sure if I'm sure a lot of people watch Shark Tank, but those are experienced private equity investors.
Right.
They do it all the time, over and over and over, because they have that technicality and know how to wind it up, how to land it. So the same thing when it comes to that private equity, the experience is so important.
Right.
Of owning a business. Do you know how all the pieces work together? All that is important. And just like with the uppercut, if you know how to land it, thinking about, you know, your boy Tank Davis. If you know how to land that uppercut, you experienced in that, you can just watch his highlights.
If it works, it works.
If it works, it works.
And it's interesting that you say that, because I tell a lot of times I've worked with fighters and they'll try to do something. They'll try to emulate what they see another fighter doing. And I'll say to them, that may not be your strength, right? Like if it's going to get you to win, just stick to what gets you to win. Right? Just because you see somebody else doing something in the fight, it may not work for you because there's different body types, there's different aggressions, there's all different aspects to it. And I guess we see that the same thing with money.
For sure. Same exact thing.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. 100%.
All right, so I want you to step forward now when you throw that shot. All right, perfect. So you see the difference there?
Yeah, for
You know, it really just comes down to, sometimes it seems like something's in front of you,
sure.
right? But you really got to kind of gauge the distance of something by understanding your position in space and time, literally. And it's kind of like almost like a deer in headlights to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're driving and you're going at a particular speed and it seems like maybe, I'm not going to hit that, but you're going at a certain speed and you're going to run right into it, right? So in that case, linear footwork, moving forward,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of things that could hold you back. Some people are really flat-footed and,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have the best footwear on and,
Mm-hmm.
but the overall goal is just like what we did earlier, you got to move your feet moving forward. So it's all about footwork.
For sure, yeah. And the same thing when it comes to that footwork. I think about these shoes and how they support me. They support my ankle. They're nice and light. They're not too heavy. I think about that in the form of what we call good debt. So these are debts like a low interest mortgage rate or maybe a low interest student loan. So these are debts that actually support you as far as like when you're making your move, when you're moving around. It helps support you to help you move quicker and faster and be able to do that. On the flip side of that good debt is we also have bad debt. So this right here, if you look at my ankles, very supported, very light shoes. They're probably like half a pound, if that. And these help me support. But if I look at this, if you can grab those ankle weights for me,
Okay.
this is what I think about when I think about bad debt.
Oh, wow. Okay. So if we put the ankle weights around your ankles,
Exactly. These are my 3 pounds,
3 pounds.
3 pound ankle weights. So what
Okay.
I call these my high interest credit cards.
Oh,
These
man.
are my high interest personal loans.
Amazon.com.
This is my high interest pieces. And I just think about that, like where I'm at right now. If you do that same thing we were just working on, and I can get there, but it's a
Right.
lot. It's a lot harder.
It's extra work.
It's extra work, so I can do it, but it's a lot of work. So same
Right.
thing when I think about the footwork. Your footwork is important to make sure that get this debt off, take the debt off,
Right.
and then you can actually,
Let's get that debt off you.
get the debt off. You pay off the credit cards,
Get that off.
pay the interest rate, that 20% interest rate, 30% interest rate gone.
Right.
And now I'm moving quick again. Same
Right.
thing. So we can a lot of things what happens is a lot of problem is when you have that debt, you're still able to move.
Right.
So you feel it, you're like, oh, I can move, but you don't realize because if you have the debt and you've accumulated after years and you have years after years after years after years, you just get used to that 3 pound weight on your foot. And you just think that that's just my 3 pound foot. That's just how I walk now. And you just get used to it. And you kind of forget what it's like to be able to move, be able to be nimble. So I always recommend that's the first thing that when if I see someone with like a lot of high interest debt,
Right.
I tell them, let's just get this weight off your ankles first so we can really start moving around
That's
and be
deep.
free. And because otherwise, it's holding you down in quicksand.
Yeah.
You can move, you can live your life, but you don't even realize you're living your life.
It's
at a
funny
slow
that you
pace.
say that. I see a lot of fighters, they train with ankle weights on the
Mhm.
ankles, and some coaches are for it, some coaches are against it.
Mhm.
Reason being is because the idea is that you want to get comfortable being almost like free and light on your feet.
Mhm.
And some coaches, that's their philosophy. Like you should just be comfortable in that aspect
Makes sense.
versus training as if you have 5 pounds pulling you down. Because then it's almost like you get conditioned in like to what you were saying, it's almost like a normal at that
For
point
sure.
where it could possibly, I don't have an opinion on it, but it can possibly kind of stunt your training to some degree because you probably are not tapping into all of your movement patterns properly because you're training with that kind of weight on. And I almost think about that like that, right? Like
Mhm.
you probably won't invest or probably won't save properly or probably just hold back on a lot of things because you've been accustomed just paying high interest debt for so long.
For sure. For sure. You get accustomed to it, you get used to it, and then now you're moving slower and all these things happen. And a lot of things is like you put the weight on accident sometimes. So something happens, you just so happen I didn't have anything else, so I threw the weight on.
Right.
And like say get accustomed to it and you can't get it off.
Right. Get lower. Get under. Get under. Move over. All right, get under me. One more time. Cool. See, it's all about, we talked about it earlier in regards to footwork, but if you notice, we're doing a little bit of pivoting now, right? Positioning. A lot of times, what you'll see in a lot of fights is people will try to bully you, right? And they'll try to insert or force themselves onto you, especially if, like, for example, you got a bigger guy. They're trying to throw their weight around on you, and they get you against the ropes. And so when we get you against the ropes, remember, you still got right, you got left. You may not be able to go forward or back, but that lateral movement and being able to be, elusive, like I mentioned earlier, and kind of coming around. And, being elusive in life is all key. It's all about strategy.
For sure. And that strategy, like being able to move and that positioning of where you're at, a lot of that stuff is about training and making sure you know where your areas are at and making sure you're prepared. So when I think about that, I think about a couple of different things. Think about, 1, your credit score. 2, think about your tax strategy. And then 3, I think about kind of a little bit, we talked about it before, but again, your emergency fund.
Right.
So when it comes to the emergency fund, that's you being able to get out of there and be able to have that opportunity to make moves. When think about the tax strategy, that's knowing your opponent. Knowing, like, when you come up, how much room do I have? That's my tax strategy. Am I really setting myself up throughout the entire fight, AKA the entire year, to make sure that when tax season comes, I have a tax strategy in place, I have something in place, so that way it can get me out of jams so I don't have to pay the IRS a whole bunch of money.
Right.
And then credit score is, if I'm doing everything right throughout the whole time, I keep my credit score up, it's going to give me so many different options.
Right.
Give me the options to duck around, get out of there.
Right.
Gives me the option to go this way. It just gives me choices. So being able to study, have that strategy, having a good credit score, having all those things is all part of positioning.
You hit it on the ball, choices, because we covered a lot today, right? We got the jab, we got the cross, the hook, the uppercut, footwork, and whatnot. And it's like this collaboration of all of these different options to where now you can combine A, B, C, you can C, B, A, like you can mix them and strategize for whatever your needs are. And in boxing, it's the same way, right? Like, you get in a situation, every situation is not going to look the same. But once you start to learn the principles of boxing, you know how to navigate any situation when you put in the ring. So when we get fighters against the ropes, like I just had you against the ropes, and you're on the offense, but then I'm coming at you with a wild punch, you knew to step to the side, and you weren't fearful of like what to come because you already know what you're going to do and you have that option.
For sure. Same thing when it comes to like having that good credit score. If interest rates are low right now, say we're in a low interest rate environment, and okay, this is coming on. Okay, now's the time to take a loan. Get out of here. Or if you see interest rates are high, it's like, okay, let me back up, stay in the pocket a little bit.
Keep my defense.
Keep my defense. I don't want to refinance right now. I don't want to restructure all that stuff. I want to make sure that I stay in here because out here is not good right now.
Right.
Let me stay in this pocket. Let me stay in this space. Same thing about kind of knowing about what the rates are, your credit score. So it's important to kind of have all those things. Same thing when it comes to the tax strategy. Like when we're thinking about pulling money out of retirement accounts. Sometimes you have what's called like a Roth account, a Roth IRA, a Roth 401k. That's after tax. Sometimes you have a traditional IRA, a traditional 401k that's pre-tax.
Right.
So it's like, okay, tax environment's high right now. Let me pull money from my Roth account because there's no taxes on this.
Right.
Tax environment is low right now. We might have a president who keeps taxes low. Let me take money out of my traditional 401k, my traditional IRA right now, pay taxes now because taxes are lower.
Right.
So it's all about knowing what options you have, knowing what strategies you have, being able to see what's happening and position yourself and be able to take those opportunities to kind of move in and out of those spaces.
Yeah, man. Master.
Yeah, that's it.
1 2 1 2 double. 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Yeah, man. Whew.
Well, yeah, that definitely reminds me. That makes me just think of like the consistency of continuously investing, continuously saving, month after month after month. Sometimes it's tough. You really got to catch your breath.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
You know, consistency is key in life, period, right? So whether if you're consistent, I tell my clients, whether if you're consistent brushing your teeth every day, drinking water, what have you, what we see in boxing is the subtle things. It's not big. It's just the 1% things that you're doing. So that drill in particular, that 1 2 1 2 double jab cross, we're not hitting hard. We're just hitting our mark. We're just hitting our mark, hitting our mark. And you're gonna start feeling your arms burn. You're gonna start feeling your heart rate go up. You're gonna start trying to remember, you have to remember, is my hands up? Am I hitting my mark properly? Am I turning my hands? All of those small detailed things you really get through consistency, not through intensity. It's not how hard you can hit. It's, are you doing it every single day? And consistency plays a big role in boxing because some of the most consistent boxers, they get long-term benefits.
For sure, that's the same exact thing when it comes to investing. Same exact thing when it comes to saving. Same exact thing when it comes to putting money in a retirement account. So if we look at people who save $300 every single month, month after month after month, and they're 25, they're going to end up having close to $1 million when they're 65, just because they had that consistency of just saving $300 every single month. It wasn't intense power like you said. It was just the consistency, just hitting month after month after month after month, versus someone who's a little bit older, maybe they're 55 and they're trying to save $1 million. You really gotta boom, boom, but it takes a lot more effort.
Yeah.
So same thing with that consistency. The reason why it's so important is you just want to be able to get to it. Once you're getting to it, then from there it just starts feeling easier. You can go longer. You can start saving more. It just becomes working those muscles.
Right.
So now these muscles are starting to get big where maybe you were only able to do that for 2 minutes.
Right.
Now you're looking and okay, like I'm able to do this for 15 minutes.
Right.
Same thing. Maybe I was only able to start with $300. Now I'm able to do $1,500.
Yeah.
It just becomes easier and easier.
It's so important that you highlighted that because a lot of times when I get clients and they want to punch really hard, right? And they're brand new to hitting boxing period. And I try to explain to them, just go slow. Just start slow, start small, and then build your way up. Because again, those small increments of being consistent in the long run outweighs the big chunk of that intensity that you're trying to roll out. So it's funny that you mentioned that because I think about like money, right? Like if it's whatever you could probably put aside and like say for example in a life insurance product and you do that at an early age, you don't think about it, right? And then it starts to build over time. And then when you look back and you're like, man, I'm 65 years old. I had this account somewhere. It was just building over time. It was building up compound interest. It's the same type of aspect in boxing where it's like, you don't need to be punching hard every single day, but the fact that you're hitting the bag at a I would say an intensity that's average pace that you can maintain, something that maintains for you, for your physical fitness, is going to have a long run. It's going to play in the long run.
For sure. That makes me think of, like, what do you think is like when you think of America, where do you think the most money is concentrated at? As far as like what sector, what space, what would you guess like majority of America's wealth is concentrated at?
The stock market?
Close. The stock market, but in particular, retirement accounts within inside the stock market. And so when we think about retirement accounts is what holds majority of America's wealth, above business ownership, above real estate, above any other like individual place that money is retirement accounts. And the reason why is because when you think about your retirement account, you go to your job, you check that box off, you say, okay, I'm gonna save 5%, 10%, wherever I'm gonna save, and it's automatic. You don't think about it. It's just flowing. It's just doing its thing. And that's the reason why there's so much wealth in it, because people are consistent and they don't even really realize that
Right.
they're being consistent because they see it before it hits their check.
Right.
So they don't have to think about it. And it's just the consistency.
Just happens,
It's
yeah.
just automatic. So that's how you want to really treat all your finances, your retirement accounts, your investments. If you're putting money in investments, if you're putting money in your life insurances, whatever you're putting your money in, wherever you're saving, you want to just make it automated, make it just consistent, make it where you set it and forget it. And
Right.
it's just going and it's just going, because what's going to happen is you're just going to keep getting stronger. You're just going to look up one day and be like,
Wow.
damn, I'm saving
Yeah.
30%, 40% of my
Yeah.
income.
Yeah.
And I didn't even try. So that's what you really want to do, is just start where you're comfortable at.
Right.
And then just keep building it up, building it up, building it up. You'll be-
Consistency, man.
Consistency and
Consistency
build
is
it
key.
up. Consistency is key.
Yeah.